Hello, everyone. This is Lena. Good evening. Welcome to Boss Mom Live. I am Lena Wong. I'm the founder of Hong Kong Momtrepreneur. Today, we're very happy to have Ching, who is joining us. Hi, Ching. Good evening.
Hi, Lena.
Hi. So just a quick introduction about Ching. She had over 17 years of experience in finance. Don't guess her age in this case. And she's a wife and a mother of 2 young boys and living in Hong Kong now. She found the organic yoga girl based on her own experience of juggling between work and home responsibilities while finding spare time for self-care. She felt that the calling of helping everyone to access to personalized mindfulness and yoga and wellness in 2017. She now also have kind of branch out to have other venture as well. So welcome again, Ching, to join us today.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Lena.
Yes.
Very glad to be
thank you. So just quickly, want to jump into this. Ching, you grew up in Belgium with Chinese parents. What brought you to Hong Kong?
Job, a finance job. So 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to come to Hong Kong, set up the Asia office for the Association of the Luxembourg Fund Industry. So I jumped on that because my parents live here. On my personal level, I was at a stage where we just got married, or we were about to get married. My husband really wanted to have, an international experience. So it just like makes sense for us to move to Hong Kong at that time. So we jumped it, and 10 years later, we are still here.
Okay. So with 17 years experience in finance, and you kind of pivot and now into mindfulness, wellness, yoga. So how did it come about?
I mean, it's been a long process. I was raised as a Chinese good girl, very traditional style and stuff, Chinese way. So I learned finance, and I did, all my experience. And then after a while, I noticed that, you know what, I don't want my whole life to be about maximizing profits. It just bothered me. At the same time, I kind of started to have, a family, and that basically triggered everything, I would say. And to speak about yoga, actually, I started to do yoga when I was pregnant for the first time at about like 37 weeks in. So it was pretty late stage. And I just felt like, doing this one class that I was offered to do, I was just like, this gives me so much space, and I feel so much better in my body, but also in my mind, that this is just awesome. And I was so grateful for that class that I had. So I was not able to make it to the next week because I was too pregnant, too huge. So I gave up, but that kind of stick in my head. And at that time I was in Luxembourg. So that was my first pregnancies. And then kind of rapidly I got pregnant again 1 year later. And then I started to experience yoga in Hong Kong, which is very different. And I took yoga classes again, prenatal, and I enjoyed it so much. It was my cocoon, the once a week thing that I was doing. And I just loved it so much. And I just kept that with me. So after I finished my 2 hours teacher training, I wanted to go back to this. I felt like this was my calling, go back and help these ladies who are pregnant. And this is what I did. So today I'm teaching on my rooftop that you can actually see on that picture. Every Sunday morning. So at the moment I have 3 girls. They all live on Lama, but I would like to invite, girls from outside to come here as well. So I'm gonna do that soon, and it's fun. So even though it's COVID, we have a lot of space, and it's very ventilated, and pregnant women usually are more careful, so we are fine. I mean, even during the pandemic, so it's okay.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I should probably invite you to come over to my island,
Yeah, sure.
on the other island, to also host some class. Because we got plenty of people here in my neighborhood who really cherish their wellness and mindfulness. And I guess for most of us who have been in the workforce in Hong Kong for a certain number of years, despite what industry you're in, definitely people are finding different ways to get the peace of mind and to really have that kind of balance, to really find a way to
It's
kind of
particularly important now
unload.
at this
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the feeling. Yeah.
Okay. So, but then you obviously had a very stable corporate job. That's actually when we first met. And now that you have your own startup, how are you coping with this transition?
It's a tough one, I tell you, very tough one. To myself, like comparing to myself, I'm actually okay because in my previous job, which I did for the past 10 years, I was alone, so I had to have self-motivation to get up in the morning and go do my thing, go to the office and go through my emails, get in touch with people, so I was fine. Where I'm struggling right now a little bit is um, towards the people around me who doesn't really understand what I'm doing. And because you know how the people who knows you best and have the best interest of yourself at heart, they are also the most critical ones because they want you, they have always known you in a certain way, and it kind of they feel safe with you being that person. And when you tell them that you want to do something else, you want to be someone else, it kind of doesn't really trigger what you wanted to trigger. Well, at least that's my experience. So ever since I said, oh, I want to do something in wellness, I want to do something in yoga, the people who are the closest to me are just like, what are you talking about? They don't get it. Uh, like, why? Why do you want to change? So that has been my struggle. First of all, because it's a change in the area of expertise. Second of all, changing from corporate where you have, a decent salary every month to being in this, adventure on your own. People don't get it, and people are scared for you that financially speaking, it's going to be really tough. And it is, it's you don't have that financial security which you used to have. And so yeah, so it's definitely difficult, and people don't especially understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you're definitely in the same boat, not having that stable income. But then, we really, probably most of us who are mom and entrepreneurs, we just want to have that autonomy and that flexibilities as well. Being an entrepreneur certainly take up a lot of our energy and our time, but we also have a little bit more control towards what we do. And during COVID time is actually become very important, as we all have to struggle between homeschooling and being the technician and the tutor at home as well. So just like many of us, you also play many roles. You still remain very active in the industry, and with different roles. How are you striking a balance between family, career, and the community?
Oh my God. Trying to do everything. Well, the homeschooling, to start with, I was trying to do a lot by myself. And then I started to delegate. So my mom takes care of the Chinese classes of the kids. And then later, my helper understood how to open Zoom and Google Classroom and stuff like that. So she kind of, managed that. And then like, so everyone is chipping in, and so that like gave me some time to go to the office basically. And then yeah, the good thing is that the flexibility that I have because I'm on my own is really helpful to, if one afternoon I need to go, do this thing for the kids, then I can do that, right? I can also like manage myself the time that I want to dedicate to the industry, which I sort of needed to, pace down a little bit because I was doing really a lot, like being really involved with many different working groups, still in the financial sector. And now I'm just keeping one particular role. And then I decided that, except from that, the rest of it, I need to drop it. That's gonna be my words for 2021. Refocus. Because I I do too many things. And I need to refocus on either wellness or finance for very specific things. And the rest of it, even though I feel like I could do it, like I need to drop it.
At the end of the day, it's also about prioritizing ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
And but you certainly have help, so you could delegate as well. Always remind all the mothers and all the women in the space that always remember to delegate. Women in general tend to have a hard time letting go.
Exactly. And I tell you one thing, if your husband doesn't want to give the bath to the kids, it's okay. They will survive without that bath. Like that was my lesson.
Yep. And at the end, lazy parents can, really nurture independent kids, and without letting go, I mean, they would never grow up either. And even without letting go and let our husband look after the kids, they would not grow up. I mean, the man will not grow up, and the kids as well. So and you just need to tolerate with that. The messy hair. I have two girls, so obviously daddy wouldn't know how to tie the hair and would definitely, don't know how to match the clothes. But you know what? The 5-year-old can manage to pick her own clothes now, and they're in perfect matching color. And so, so it's just a matter of, as a mother, it's just a matter of letting go and just, not having that same standard that you always want to have. And you just give yourself a little break as well, and it's just make also the man to feel better, that they don't feel like, it's just, and you're going to complain again anyway, so why bother help you in the weekend, or I will bother look after the kid. So and just to a little bit about your business as well. I'm just curious to find out more about how you see your business, say in 3 years time. You have a company focusing more on wellness and skincare as well, called Organic Yoga Girl. At the same time, you're also venturing out to do a consulting service as well. So share a little bit more about your plan for this year, and maybe in 3 years time, how do you see yourself?
Well, I mean, 3 years time, it's really difficult considering that we are in the middle of COVID and we have no clue how long that's going to last. So that's really hard to tell. But in the immediate effects, I'm doing this. So the yoga side of things is focusing on mostly prenatal and doing these classes. And soon I'm going to branch out on doing some, since we are all here, Lama get away from the city type of mini retreat things. So I'm gonna have that, where it includes yoga, meditation, tea ceremony, and that cream. So the cream, we had another session a few months ago when it was about embracing motherhood, where I explained Dosha organic face cream. So basically, it's a purely organic face cream with all the ingredients put together in Hong Kong. So it's really locally created, and it's purely organic. Basically, we are personalizing the cream according to your dosha.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go through a fun little questionnaire where it's going to ask you about what type of skin you have, something about your hair, different things. And then from there, you will know which dosha is your predominant dosha, and that has a particular scent. Yeah, so that's my project that I would like to be launching fully very soon. And then if we move on to wellness, one of the things that I wanted to do also via yoga, originally speaking, was to go back to the corporate world, and be able to uh, be there for these people who needs it. So the average person that I have in mind when I started this program was, the person who stays behind his laptop for 10-ish hours a day and feel that it's normal, that it's needed for the job, but that person usually doesn't really feel good in herself or in himself. So I spoken to a lot of HR actually already, or head of trainings in various companies, where they're starting to realize that they need to do something for their employees.
Mm-hmm.
So I have these 8-week programs where uh, obviously now everything is happening online. So every week for 1.5 hours, I have one expert coming in and do like sort of a workshop on Zoom, maybe, with a department, basically. And so then we cover personal assessment for each employee with a plan for development. We touch upon different topics which is dear to the heart of or important for that particular corporate.
Mm-hmm.
We had like talent retention. What did we have? Uh, Dealing with winning or losing a deal.
Mm-hmm.
um, so this type of topics, and then also something specifically about mental health. So right now we are looking into mental health in the workplace, and linked to technology, because like everything is happening on technology these days,
Mm-hmm.
um, etc., etc. So we have that going on. It's being launched at the moment. And then I have a couple of other projects which are more linked into my former life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite fun. I quite like it. I think for women especially, it's quite rewarding, and we really feel the difference when you do different things like that. Like, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know which part of the brain it triggers, but like I can feel that when I work in finance, it triggers a certain part of my brain, right? and
Mm-hmm.
and then on Sunday morning I'm doing this yoga with all these pregnant women, then it triggers some other part of my brain,
Mm-hmm.
and it really helps me to remain sane. I think it's really healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and um, and it just keeps the equilibrium. It just a good balance. It's a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. It's certainly important to keep exercising our brain as well,
Yeah.
to stimulate different part of our brain and to really and to I guess having your own business personally, I think is that sense of achievement that you can make when you're in a corporate job. You have a KPI, of course you try to achieve it, but as the KPI is not set by yourself, right? It's by someone else. And so that kind of A sense of achievement is certainly different from where you have your own startup. And you have to be as creative as possible, think of the box more, and really set your own target and KPI. But at the end, you're certainly creating something, which is very important. And best of all, the kids can get more involved. Certainly, the two of us also came from finance, and I actually have been trying to explain to my girls, my older one, about finance recently. So it's been quite a bit of a challenge to explain to her what mommy used to do. But certainly with the other things that you and I are doing are probably much easier for a child to understand and to take part into what we do. So with that, if there's one thing you have learned from motherhood that can help with your entrepreneurial life right now, what would that be?
Being able to multitask and put priority on things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that your list of to-dos is gonna be just that long, but you just need to get the first 3 or the first 5 done. That would be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So put the priority on that, and get that done, and it's okay if the rest of it is not done, or at least not today. I think that's something that I really learned when I became a mother, because taking care of that little living thing was so much more important than that list of things that I had to do, and which before being a mother was just so important. At least it felt that way. Now I know that it's not, because it just doesn't. So yeah, put priority, and having a few things done. That's what I still telling myself every day.
Yeah, to add on to that, I would perhaps also remind myself that try not to be perfect on every single thing that you complete. And it's also vice versa, also help with being a mother. Sometimes if we put the same standard that we had in our professional life onto our child, we are certainly giving a lot of pressure to that little thing. And so learning just to, meet the minimum requirement and just move on, because they are just, especially both of us send our kids to local school. So we certainly know the kind of like stereotype, pressure that the child is having in the local school system in Hong Kong. And so my trick is just meet the minimum requirement and just spend time doing other things. And I mean, for me, I kept on have to reminding myself, and for the kid as well. Yeah. So in every episode of Boss Mom Life, we like to ask this question to wrap it up. We believe that mothers have superpower that enable us to achieve a lot more. So what is your superpower as a mother?
Ever since I'm a mother, I can get on my feet whenever during the nighttime. So at the beginning, it was for feeding a kid, and then, because there is a nightmare, there is a mosquito in the room, or there is like whatever, I'm always available throughout the night. Like whenever happens, I'm on my feet. My eyes may not be open, but I'm functional. So that's my thing, I guess. Like that's the thing I can do until now. And they're not so young anymore.
So subconsciously or in your sleepwalking, you can also look after the kid.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we all do that?
I think most mothers do that, and would be the first one, despite how loud the children cry or ask for help. It's always usually the mother who would wake up and be the first person to go. In a way, sometimes I feel the pressure, but sometimes I wonder, you know, how many more times will the kids come to us, right? You know, very soon they will be 10, then they will be 15, then they will be 20, and they'll be out of the house. So it might not be such a bad thing. Or if it happens every night, then it's a problem. If it's any, a couple of times a month, and yeah, it's kind of sweet. And I personally, I still remember how my mom touched my face, you know, coming to my bed. And as a kid, like as a grown up now, I still remember that touch on my face. So I guess it's really that that bonding is really important. And I guess it's a gift, you know, as a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, thank you very much, Ching, for coming on here to share with us, and wish you best of luck with your venture and with the skincare, the cream, that I'm sure I will be one of the first customer to get to try it. And just a little bit of highlight about next week. Well, that's the thing about being a entrepreneur. Got some work to be done at this time. So we'll take a break next week, and we'll come back the following week and with another mom, and to have another Boss Mom live chat. Well, thank you very much, Jean. Have a nice evening. Good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.